Hi everyone, welcome back. So the paintwork is now finished, sealed, and the decals are on. So next I'm going to be starting the weathering process. So for this we're going to start off with the good old favourite of an oil wash. Okay, so that's going to just be a sepia oil paint wash, quick pin wash, just to bring out some of the detail, bring some contrast, and obviously highlight of, you know, said details that we've got. So without further ado, let's get cracked on. So I've dismantled the Land Rover again into its separate elements. This is going to make it easier for obviously applying the wash and cleaning up and stuff, so you can do it in little sections at a time. So what I'll do is just move out the ones I'm not going to do for now. Okay, move them off the bench or off the mat. Alright, I've already drained, as you can see, some oil paint. We've got our white spirit, odorous thinner. Chuck a bit in the little cup. So you've seen me do this, you know, on the last few builds, so nothing really is going to change with the process. Get a bit mixed up on the cardboard. Again, if you really want this to, you know, get a separate cup and mix it up, doing it this way, you can, you know, I can vary the consistency of the wash. Alright, capillary action should then just take hold. One day I will get that right, so we zoom in instead of zoom out, and then just touch and flow. So again, just touch it where you want it to go, and then just let the capillary action do the work for you. Don't worry about any of the sort of splodges, because they'll just clean up really easily with a bit of clean thinners when it's dried off. So again, this has got to be one of my favourite parts of starting the weathering, because this is where all the details come to life, you know, get defined, shadows get deeper, details stand out. You can actually just, once this is dry, if you cleaned it up, then you can just go over it again and again until you've got the sort of consistency and the depth that you want. Just remove the steering wheel, that's not stuck on, thankfully. Any recesses we've got, we'll just drop a bit in there. Again, the beauty of oil washes that I like is once it's dry, you can, you know, you can sharpen it up so you've got a really, really nice pin wash, or you can just use it for staining as well, because oil paints obviously blend fantastically well. There we go. I'll just run some down the where the wing kind of joints are. Same this side. So basically anywhere where there's detail, and that's the easiest way of putting it. Just highlight, you know, just give it a pin wash, give it a wash, So we'll just leave, you know, I'll carry on off cam, and then you know, I'll go around to the rest of the details, and then we'll come back and we'll start cleaning it up. So the wash has had time to dry, roughly about 15-20 minutes. Okay, so next job is just to clean up any overspill. So, which you can see, okay, just tighten it up a little bit, make it look a lot neater. So usual process, bit of kitchen towel, clean brush, just dip it in, unload. You don't need a lot of thinners in this to reactivate it, and then get you on cam, and then literally just take off what you don't want on. So it's as simple as that. You just sharpen this all back up. Again, this is over a satin coat, so you know, you're going to get different effects with different varnishes. Quite like the satin one, it just gives enough sort of grip to hold it, but you know, enough resistance to clean it all off. As much as you want. So and if you've got earbuds, got, you know, Q-tips, you can do it with that. You can do it with bits of sponge, literally anything you know, you can think of to use. I just like using a brush. I think it's just, you've got more control. As long as you keep it unloaded and don't keep picking up the oil paint on it, then you know, you'll get a really, really sharp, clean wash. Alright, so pin wash is now on. As you can see, that really does make the details start to pop. So next job is to get some dust on this, for pre-dusting. So what I've done is given this a couple of coats of cheap hairspray, which is one of them, any cheap hairspray or chipping fluid, if that's what you've got. So I've also knocked up a bit of a dust colour, which I'll show you when we just spin it around and go into the actual spray booth. Obviously going to keep the dust kind of down to the lower sections, but I've just been looking at pictures on the internet, and obviously, you know, if these were out in Afghanistan or Iraq, they, you know, chucking dust up, it does get everywhere. So he's going to get a coat pretty much, you know, all in the back of the bay, definitely all in there. Seats would definitely, you know, get filthy. But obviously you don't want to cover up what we've previously done, so it's all in moderation. So I'm going to, like I say, take over to the spray bay. Spin the camera around, get set up again, and then we'll go on with some dusting. So we're over in spray bay, and I'm now, as you can see, knocked up a, just move the camera down a little bit, there we go. Knocked up a dust colour, just simple, using buff, bit of German grey and a bit of cream white. So that'll just give us this sort of like nice light colour here. Again, I'm going to airbrush this on, so just knock a bit into this airbrush. Okay. So this is quite a thin mix, and just so you know, because it's the hairspray, I'm using Attacker Lacquer thinners for this, because this is really, really mild and easy to chip. So just start lightly dusting over. So you can build this up, you know, as much or as little as you want, depending on obviously where you're at. Hit the front bumper. Alright, so that's dust coat on. We'll leave that to dry for a few minutes, and then obviously we'll get some water and start streaking. So we'll move back over to the other bench so we can get a better camera angle on that, and yeah, we'll start removing it all. I'm now going to move on to the next part of the weathering, which is going to consist of, as you can see, pigments. Alright, now I'm not a massive fan of pigments, not anymore anyway. I used to use them a lot in the past, but I'm not so keen, but they do have their place. So as you can see on my little palette, I've got a selection here. Lebanon Dust, Sinai Sand, Gulf War Sand, and then Fills, Sand Pigment and Dirt. So that's the little selection there. The plan is, or my plan is to put some in the bed. You know, that's what, you know, crew getting in and out, equipment in and out, everything, like, you know, dust blowing up, it is going to collect all in the crevices, and this will add a bit of texture. So the main reason I want to get this on is because I want to get the roll cage fitted, and until sort of that's dusted up, I can't really fit that into place. So I've got a real fine brush, and the key from what I've sort of figured using pigments is less is more. You know, don't go lathering it all over, and because it does just make a mess. So you want it so you can kind of control it. So like I said, I'm going to concentrate. Let's just pull it out of the way. Into the corners where sort of dust and sand or whatever it is will naturally collect. And I'm putting it in dry at the minute. So putting it where I want it. So as you can see, you've got some texture being built up of a build up. You know, just think logically where it would naturally just settle, really. And don't be afraid to mix it together with some other shades. And keep your piece of kitchen towel handy just to clean your brush, and just manipulate it to where you want it to be. And then what I've got here is a bit of pigment fixer, so I'll get a different brush, quite a big brush. So just a bit of a soft brush. You want to, you know, get a bit on your brush, soak your brush, and then just dab it and let it float. And that'll just find its way with capillary action into the pigment and lock it into place. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So when that's dry, that should be pretty much permanent. Again, if you want to just put a bit of dust on the seat, so I'll just take these two colours for now, and again just in a corner, and then get a softest brush. So this is just a real old soft brush. You can just dab and blend it. Okay, that's a bit strong for me. So this is what I mean by pigment. You've got to be very careful because it can be really overpowering. Better. A bit on this front here. There we go. So as you can see, that adds a nice bit of texture into the bed. If you did want to do a bit of chipping, you can go in there as well after and do a bit of chipping or a bit of worn effects. Obviously where, you know, again, like I say, crew's been walking or equipment's been dragged in, I'm not going to bother because I don't think you'll see a lot of it. So you know, once this is on and the Milan system's in, a lot of it is kind of going to be semi-covered up anyway. So and another good place actually, if you did want to put pigments, is down into the, you know, them the wheel wells, or obviously where the driver and commander sits. So that's the commander who sits in that chair. Again, all in the corners, just where the dust would collect, or the sand or whatever it is. So we'll just drop a bit in there actually while I've got it in the brush. Drop that there. Not that it's really good to see on camera, but it is in there. Again, and if you're not going to touch it, you don't really need to fix it. That's the other good thing. So yeah, not that you can see, like I say, but there is some in there, believe me. So next job for me is to get the roll cage on. Okay, drop that into place, get that secure. Get the brace bar on at the front, get the lights in, get the grill on, all the bits that are missing, and then we can come back and do the final bit of weathering.